Oh, we are bright. That is bright. Why are we so bright? I don't understand. Turn this down a little bit. Fucking hell. A little bit better. Jesus. I feel like I'm in bloody Maldives or something. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. The title of the show is The Glazers Are Guilty. Guilty of being shit owners. Guilty of never caring about the club. Guilty of never putting a hand in the pocket. Guilty of having a shit haircut. Guilty of many, many other things. Now, we've had some multiple reports kind of surface from last night and this morning in regards to the takeover situation. So let's just dive into it together. Get your comments in, leave a like on the video, and get your opinions in on this latest update. So from the Daily Mail last night, they did we went live for this and initially reacted to it, but obviously we said at the time as well, we want to wait for a little bit more reaction on it because you can't just take the Daily Mail's word for it, because whenever they have had sources with the takeover situation. So the Daily Mail did a story last night. The Glazers are staying for another year because they believe they can get £10 billion for the club with the landscape of football currently changing with Saudi Arabia investment and the new Champions League format. You've got the Club World Cup coming up as well. So they're looking at the landscape and they're thinking basically we just stay for another year to make more money. Then Ben Jacobs came out with an update saying, understand remains the United sale process is ongoing and little has changed. No sale, always one possibility, especially in the light of the expanded Club World Cup. Those close to the Qatar side have said for some time they think their main rival is a no sale, not Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But sources close to the process this evening indicate multiple groups are still involved in negotiations and that, as of now, the Glazers have not picked a winner or decided not to sell. And those close to the groups also stress they are yet to hear anything definitive. So this is from Ben Jacobs, who's been relatively good on this situation. As I've said before, often in a takeover of this nature, which isn't the norm, the loser comes out and speaks first. We saw this with Chelsea, also run by the Rain Group. In that instance, the losers were informed they were out of the process before the groups who remained in it. So what we're basically expecting here, big up to Brandon in the chat, I see you in TikTok, legend. Big up everyone in YouTube as well who's tuning in. So basically, yeah, let's go back to it. It's public knowledge the Glazers don't have the funds to stay at Manchester United. The whole reason why they put them up in the first place for strategic alternatives was because they're absolutely desperate for cash. They're £1 billion in debt, basically, with all the club credit card spends and other kind of spends. And they've got a stadium to pay for. So that's £2 billion. And we're cashless. They've got fuck all at the minute. So they had to do it. They had to put it up there. Do I still believe that they fully want to sell? I don't know. I genuinely don't know at this point because my head's going like that. And I'm sure many of you guys who are watching right now are fucking all over the place. One thing I know for sure, and I'm absolutely certain on, is if they decide to stay, it's going to be absolute carnage at United. Absolute carnage. If they put it out there now, because they're going to have to put something out soon. They can't, either way, whatever decision they're going to make, if they say they're going to stay for another year or they decide to sell, we will hear it. Either way. And it's getting to a point now where they need to say something if they are going to stay. So if they announce that, especially given the transfer window's just finished now, it wouldn't surprise me. But if they announce that, I would imagine, or I'd like to think that the next few games we've got coming up, or the next game for the next 6 months, we try to get every single game cancelled. You boycott sponsors, you target the sponsorships, you target everything you possibly can to hit their pockets because they're already skint. Well, they're not skint, obviously, they've got millions of pounds, but in regards to the club is basically skint. We're getting shit on credit card facilities. We were scrambling around for Amrabat and loan near the end of the season. Like, we're struck for cash in a minute. That's the simple truth of it. I've always believed all these little tactics, basically the Rain Group have been employed, right, to get the most money possible. And they're being paid for that service alone. Whether you agree with it or not, that is their job, to get the most money, as much as they possibly can. So the tactics that they employ to do that, United fans definitely won't agree with because we've seen certain narratives being pushed out in the media to drive that price up. So if you're thinking as a businessman with your head, let's just try take the sentiment of United out of it, even though I know it's hard. If you're thinking as a businessman, what's the best way you get the price? You drive stories, you create narratives in the media to get people believing, get people thinking. And this has been the case really since November. Since it got announced in November, we've had bid. So Jim Ratcliffe's winning, Qatar's winning. So Jim Ratcliffe's winning, Qatar's winning. No sale. Like, it has honestly been like that, and we had Neil bloody Custard come out the other day talking about how the deal's basically wrapped up in October and Qatar are pretty confident. And then you're getting this crap saying that they're thinking about staying. Mike Keegan put out last month, they might stay past autumn and winter, I think it is. Like, loads of people are reporting different things. So does anyone actually know? Does anyone actually have sources next to the Glazers? When are the Daily Mail put anything out about the takeover that's been legit? Because that's the first thing I thought when I saw that coming out last night was, I don't believe it. I do not believe it at all. Because we've seen this load. Let's see what comes out from this. Regardless, I believe anything that happens, like I said, it'll be carnage. If they decide to go, like it says there in the Ben Jacobs kind of article, if they decide to go, you'll hear it from the losing side first. So if we see something coming out from Ineos and to Jim Ratcliffe's side, where it's like, oh, we withdraw from the race and we're looking at other things now, we're not really interested in that. That's kind of a softener to say, basically, we lost out on the bid and we're basically running away with the tails between our legs. That's what you want to see. As soon as we start seeing stuff come out about that, then, and I imagine it'll probably be from the Times Sport, because they're the ones who've been putting a lot of spin out for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So I think, the Times, sorry, not Times Sport. I think if anything does come out from the Ratcliffe side, you'll see that. And then equally, Qatar side, you might hear something from a Ben Jacobs or a Mike Keegan in relation to that. But like it says in that, Ben Jacobs says there, Qatar are more worried about Glazers not selling than they are Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So what do you do now? Like I said at the start, the Glazers are guilty. They're guilty of being shit owners, guilty of never caring about the club, guilty of never putting their hand in the pocket, and guilty of having a shit haircut, especially Avram Glazer. And they are guilty of being one of the worst owners ever. And we're getting close to nearly 20 years now, I think, with them in charge. And they haven't put a single penny out of the pocket in the club. And this is something they inherited. This isn't new information. You guys already know this. But just to reiterate, this is something they've inherited from the dad, Manchester United. They've not built this from the ground up. The dad bought it for like 200 million plus 400 million that was loaned on the club, which he never should have been able to do anyway. But he did that. Malcolm dies, and then the rest of the little baby rats come in and are like, give me money, give me money, give me this, give me this, give me this. And now they're all squabbling essentially over why we're not getting 10 billion or why we're not doing it. 10 billion pound they want for a club. 10 billion. Chelsea went for like 2 point something. And I know that was a completely different circumstance, and I understand it. It was all government and stuff. That's why it went through relatively quickly. But 10 billion pound for Manchester United, you are never getting that. That's double what Qatar have offered. 10 billion. Even if you wait a year, where's the extra money coming from? You can talk about Saudi and the landscape that's changing there. You could talk about the Club World Cup. You could talk about the new Champions League format. Maybe that's an extra couple of 100 million. Maybe. What about the rest? Like, we need a new stadium. We need new training facilities. We need the manager being backed in a climate like this where it's so competitive now in the Premier League. I just don't see how they string this along for another 12 months. I really don't. But let's read some comments. I don't get why I'm so bright on here. Like, it's not that bright in this room. Really not. So let me just, I don't know. It's pissing me off that. Oh, it's so fucking bright, man. Anyway, bring this in there. All right, let me read out everyone's comments because I appreciate you all thingy. Sylvenius says, I'm truly starting to feel sorry for the manager who came after Fergie. They didn't have the status he obtained in the club and quickly became pawns. Will Eric Ten Hag be next? I think that's an interesting comment. Sam saying, if the Glazers stay, he will be Sylvenius. Brighton and Crystal Palace game, we cancel. Charlie Malman says, Glazers have run United into the ground. They have run the fans into the ground. They're an American football team. No doubt at all they're selling United. Lucky Singh says, we're cancelling. We'll kick Avram Glazer's head in. Okay. I think he's a bit aggressive there, but is what it is. Scoreboard says, all we can do is don't buy any United merchandise or avoid any good services from United sponsors. Sam McCabe says, no word from Keegan as of yet. Be interesting to see what he says and would love to see Reuters or Bloomberg report. Well, we haven't seen anything from Reuters or Bloomberg since June. Was it early June? When we had that period of exclusivity, which they doubled down on, and then we didn't hear anything. So, look, Reuters have been wrong on this. You're telling me there's not a chance that the Daily Mail could be wrong? know what I'm saying? And then Lucky Singh says, me and fans cancelling Brighton and Crystal Palace Stadium. I put a poll up at the start of the show saying, do you still think the Glazers will sell? 68% said yes, 32% said no. So the scales are balancing out a little bit now. But yeah, don't forget it's match day, by the way. We do play Arsenal in a few hours' time, and I'll be live for that. Me and Shreyas will be live for the watch along. And there'll be a members video today, and there'll be a review after the game. So talk about Super Sunday. This is Super Busy Sunday. So make sure you're locked into Real Reds Talk as always. Turn on that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and smash a like on the video. UTFR says, for me, this is a PR stunt. Well, it's coincidental, isn't it? Like, it's happened just after the transfer window has closed. So would it surprise me? Would it fuck? Would it fuck? We've seen this numerous times before. I think these journalists should be held accountable, though. Like, when a player fucks up in a game, they have to come out and they have to talk to the camera and they have to say, like, why they've done this and why they've done that. Journalists, you should get Neil Custard and the guy from Daily Mail, whoever's reported this, put them in a room, do what you have to do, put them in a room and say, right, why did you report this? Because, mate, you're putting that Qatar have won and you're putting that Glazers are staying. So one of you are right and one of you are wrong. Someone's spinning some kind of bullshit out there. And who knows, because it's the Daily Mail competing with the Sun. So maybe they're both talking shit because they're both poor outlets. No idea at this rate. Very, very strange. For anyone who gives a shit, there is been some squad number changes. I was just having a look at before. So Hoyland is the new number 11. Obviously, famous players like Marshall, Ryan Giggs, Januzaj have wore that shirt. Garnacho's the new number 17. Nane, Andy Cole, Fred, I think, before he went, he wore it. Bayindir is number 1. Believe it or not, Schmeichel, Van der Sar, De Gea. No pressure there, mate. You've got Reguilon, who's number 15. Vidic and Blomqvist have wore that shirt. Johnny Evans, 35. Here's a question. Do you think if United put a Johnny Evans T-shirt for sale at the mega store, do you think they'd sell any? Do you think they'd get one shirt sale if Johnny Evans 35 on the back? Surely they would. There'd be some cool cat out there, some Northern Quarter-esque kind of football fan who buys a Johnny Evans shirt. Maybe there's someone in the chat who would buy a Johnny Evans shirt, but I don't feel like they're going to sell a lot of them, to be honest. And then the rumoured one, I don't know if the news has broke yet, but with Amrabat, obviously the number 4 is available. Now, the number 4, we hold very close to our heart. There is a legend who is, won it all, who is iconic at this football club, who should have a statue. He's among some of the best on the planet that's ever been. And that's Phil Jones. Phil Jones has vacated the number 4. So, look, it's big pink boots to step into. But, I believe Amrabat can take after his predecessor. Look, number 4, it's numbers at the end of the day, but some people get superstitious. I know Steve Bruce wore the number 4 shirt as well. And someone put there, I think Fisher put Rafa should be getting the number 4. I agree. Yeah, that'd be more fitting, to be honest with you. But I don't know, maybe Amrabat won't get number 4. I've just seen a lot of kind of reports on it at the minute. So who knows? Right, let's read some comments out on TikTok. I appreciate loads of you getting involved. Marshall is not a famous player for you. And mate, it's tongue in cheek. Just take it as it is. Why are people so serious? You get pedantic people in the chat like, actually, he wore the number 2.5 and he had white socks on and he didn't wear a blue top at that time. It's like, I don't give a shit, mate. I'm just doing a news show. Show you being out. They've done a great job. I think he's alluding to the Glazers. Obviously, a Liverpool fan. You spent over £1 billion. That stick that you get beat with, that's money we generate, mate. We generate that money. It's not out of their own pockets, you fucking idiot. Surely we can't be too surprised. They are money-grabbing profiteers who continue to ruin our club. That's from Mark Farr. They're going to sell. They're desperate. The media are putting out articles for clicks they know. Says Rash. Oggy Plays says the entire infrastructure, and you'll realise they don't spend any of their money. Exactly. And people saying, you just, I can't react to it. Can't react to it. Don't do it, Nick. They've spent literally over £1 billion and you're blaming them. Oh, Jesus Christ. They're going to sell. They're desperate. The media just comes out with these articles to get clicks. Who do you support, my friend? I mean, I thought that was obvious. Okay. Thoughts on Mason Greenwood's move to Getafe? I touched on this slightly yesterday. I think United will bring him back after he has a decent loan spell at Getafe. That's not given, because if you're judging it off the training videos that I fucking saw, Jesus Christ, we're never bringing him back. But if he goes to Getafe, he starts scoring goals, double figures, scores against Barcelona, scores against Real Madrid. I'm telling you, after a year, United will bring him back. I fully believe that. Fully believe that. M says, if we beat Arsenal today, everyone will forget about this. And then, but equally, if it goes the other way, if we lose to Arsenal, then people, yeah, it's going to ramp up in it, I believe. Glazers haven't helped us with anything. It's a PR spin to get more money. The financial situation is far too bad. They even allowed debt to rise and rise when it could have been used to wipe the debt off, even if Tanaga's helped them save millions in wages. Yeah, look, they are parasitic. They are the reason why we could have been, well, we could have been a lot more successful with competent owners. You look at the way the transfer market was dealt with, shambles. You look at the way the Mason Greenwood situation was dealt with, shambles. You look at the way this whole takeover situation is being dealt with, shambles. Shambles FC. I'm starting to think this badge means fuck all to anymore. It means nothing. The way we handle business, because we don't conduct ourselves, whether that's off the pitch, whatever it is, we don't conduct ourselves in that manner, do we? We're not a big club in that regard. Everyone knows when we're in the transfer market, buying certain players or selling certain players, they could take us for a ride. They can. We have that reputation. Agents have come out and spoken about that to people before, saying United have this reputation. And ultimately, all of it stems from the Glazers. People could say, "Oh, well, Woodward was in charge, and these guys did that, and this person did that." Who left them in charge? Because they made them money commercially. Was Ed Woodward fantastic commercially for the club? Absolutely. Even Richard Arnold, to a certain extent, when he wasn't in charge, was good. Was good for that, with marketing and stuff. But when it comes to recruitment, we have been abysmal. And the Glazers are sat there saying, "Look, you deal with it. You've got the power. You deal with that." The only thing we're asked about is if we get Champions League and if we get money. And we always have this kind of second syndrome with managers, don't we? Where it's like, get backed, Champions League. Right, you got Champions League now. Let's stall off a little bit. And let's see what happens. So, yeah, obviously, mega frustrated with this constant roller coaster that is the sale of Manchester United. I still don't think it's going to be done anytime soon. I think it'd be a good few months, if not next year. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, even if Qatar come in now, anyway, there's not much they can do. Is there? The transfer window's closed. You've got the January window, but then how long is it going to take to get your feet under the desk and work through a few things? I think they need to look at the board level and sack a few people on the board, Murtar and Arnold and Co. and people like this. But it is what it is. But hopefully we can, in our minds, gloss over this shit that we have to deal with by beating Arsenal today. Let's go fucking beat Arsenal today at the Emirates. And at least we'll have something to smile about. Because if we get battered at the Emirates tomorrow, it's all guns blazing. It should be all guns blazing anyway, because we want the owners out, and we'll stick by that message. But it's just going to put a downer on it, innit, if we lose to Arsenal today. So make sure you come and join me and Shreyas for the watch along. We'll be live an hour before kickoff at 3:30. We'll have a review after the game, which is usually like me, Sam, and Chive. And then there's a members video dropping tonight as well, a reflection on the transfer window in itself, where we'll take a look at the incomings, outgoings, every other situation that was involved, and maybe a few other clubs as well. So if you are a member, or if you're not a member, should I say, make sure you click that link in the description or click the join button next to the notification bell. You get a badge next to your name, a chance to feature on the show, and exclusive content every single week. For people in the TikTok, if you don't follow Real Reds Talk, check us out on YouTube. The link is in the bio. Subscribe to the channel. We're 40 subs of 3,300, I think. If I'm not, I might be wrong. I think it's 3,300. So yeah, please do subscribe. Big up everyone in the chat. I'll see you shortly in a couple of hours' time for Manchester United versus Arsenal. Hoyland might start. Let's see what happens. Peace.